Hello, welcome to the Black Spruce Knitting Podcast. My name is Allie. I live in Vermont in the Green Mountains on Abenaki land with my partner Chris and our dog Darwin. Darwin is joining me today, and I'm so happy to be making this episode. It's February 23rd. I think this is episode 11 or maybe 12. I have to check. But before I get into what I have to show you, I just wanted to say a couple thank yous. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who liked and commented on and shared my last video, which was a visit to Junction Fiber Mill in White River Junction, Vermont. I was really floored by the response and really grateful because I think that Peggy and Amanda, the two co-owners of Junction Fiber Mill, I think their story is incredible, and I just was feeling grateful to be able to share it with all of you. I'm really hoping to make more videos like that one. I'm definitely going to do a part 2, but I live in New England in the United States, and I really would like to make more videos about my fiber shed and introducing you all to some of the amazing people who have amazing stories in this area. I've actually been listening to the audiobook for Vanishing Fleece by Clara Parks, and she does something really similar, which is investigating the stories of American fiber industry. And so it's an amazing book. I really recommend it. I am feeling inspired and energized. So I hope that if you enjoyed that video that you'll stick around, because I'd really like to do more like that this spring and summer. So I have a lot of ideas, but I need to reach out to some people first. So I won't share until I know that I can film with those folks. But keep your eyes peeled, and I think that might be something that's coming in the future in addition to this podcast. I also wanted to say welcome and thank you to Amy Palco, but welcome to everyone who has found me through Amy Palco or any other recommendation. I'm a huge fan of Amy's podcast, so I was really pretty excited to get a shout out. So if you found me, I hope that you enjoy. And just, thank you to everyone who has been sharing my videos. I know that I hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's just really lovely to connect with everyone. Before I kind of start on some of the knitting stuff I have to share, I do want to say that the Wise Weed sweater, which was a test knit that I've been working on, it's not being published until next week, which means that I'm not going to talk about it in this video. And I thought about waiting to make a longer video with that one in it, but I decided to just split it into 2 videos because I have so much to say about that sweater. So probably next week after the pattern is released, I will do a video about it. I also I have a very special package that I want to share, so there might be another video next week. So hopefully that's not too disappointing, but I do have a couple other things to share. I'm going to jump in. So the first finished object that I have is the Gaston Sweater by Ann Budd, which I made for my father. And I made this out of Quince & Co. Lark. I've mentioned this a couple times, but there has been some questions about the business. And if you want to, you can Google just like Quince & Co. Lark business practices or controversy to decide if you want to purchase this yarn. I did purchase it on sale from Firefly Fibers when they were getting rid of their stock. I probably won't buy it again, but I just like to let people know that they can read about it, and you can all, I think, make a decision how you feel. But it's a non-superwash worsted weight, and I made this for my father. He has not tried it on yet in its finished form. He had tried it on before it was blocked, and it was like a little bit tight, and so I was like, okay, great, it should fit perfectly with blocking. I made the second largest size, I think it's about 44 inches, and I hit gauge with US size 6 needles. But it does look really big to me. So now that it's been blocked, and I'm interested to have him try it on to see if it fits. But if it doesn't fit him, I think it will be okay, because I've tried it on and it's very oversized on me, but very cozy. So I'm like, I will keep this if he doesn't want it. He actually told me that he cuffs all of his sweaters, which I think he has like a long torso but shorter arms. So I'm hoping that it fits him well. It fit, like the length fit well before it was blocked. So, but it definitely grew when it was blocked. So we'll see. But it's a bottom up seamed garment, and I do want to say I'm starting to like really enjoy working seamed garments. I definitely like doing top down, raglan, seamless, or other top down constructions, because it's nice and easy and you can try it on easily. But I love the fit, especially for a masculine silhouette of a seamed garment. And I don't really mind seaming. I didn't really make any modifications besides the length, and I knit the arms. They're supposed to be knit flat, but I knit the sleeves in the round up until the cable. And so you can see where I went from like the round to seaming, but I don't think it's a huge deal. And I'm pretty happy with it. I actually think the buttons really make it. I got these clay buttons from Idlewild that I think just make it really special. Idlewild, I think, is Virginia based, and they're handmade clay buttons. I actually got two sets because I couldn't pick. Let me show you the other set. So I had gotten this set as well, but I went with the dark brown. And so now I have these for something else, and Chris really likes them and requested that I make an elf toggle shirt with these. I don't know exactly what an elf toggle shirt is. I don't know if Chris knows either. Chris said, sorry, I can see Chris laughing in the other room. Chris said, like Heath Ledger wears in A Knight's Tale. I'll put a picture of that. So I have to figure out, I don't know if this is something that can be knitted or if it needs to be sewn. I might have to write a pattern for an elf toggle shirt to use these buttons with. If you think you know what an elf toggle shirt is, please let me know. I think Chris made it up, but I will take all advice and thoughts into consideration. But yeah, this is a pretty simple pattern. It's got this like nice cable detail. It wasn't very hard to knit. It was actually pretty quick. It just took me a while because I was knitting the wise weeds, which was more involved. I'm really excited to see if it fits. I enjoyed knitting it, especially because it wasn't very difficult. It's got these like garter stitch borders. The bottom hem was really flipping until I blocked it, which, now it's not flipping at all. You add like this garter stitch edging. I definitely would love to knit more patterns by Ann Budd because it's just so well written. There are some parts where she just will say decrease or cast on, and you can choose what decrease or what cast on to use. I used, or for increases, I used make one left and make one right, which are kind of my increases of choice. And you can kind of see it makes, I think it's not super noticeable. I don't mind. So yeah, I'm like, I don't even know what else to say about it, really. I think I think it's a nice piece. I really like knitting sweaters for the people in my family, especially because we live in a cold place. Um, and I hope that my dad really likes this. My mom knows how to take care of it. My mom knows it can't go go in the wash. So um, I, yeah, I'm excited. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say. I think that's it. So yeah, a finished a finished piece for my father. My next finished object is for my mother. Actually, I knit my mother a cowl. I hadn't even cast this on in the last episode, um, but it is made out of Blue Sky Fibers Royal Fingering, which is like a 100% alpaca. I don't know the colorway, I'll have to check. I got this yarn as like a freebie from Scratch Supply Co., which is also where I got the buttons. But they were doing like a birthday giveaway a few years ago, and this yarn was included in like a gift bag. And so I've kind of just had it in my stash, and my mom's birthday was last week and I wanted to knit her something. I definitely am going to make her a sweater, but I needed something kind of quick. And I actually know that she's pretty sensitive to wool. The wool that I made that sweater out of actually is probably good for gifts because it's not scratchy at all, but this alpaca is so soft. And I wanted to do something kind of basic. I was thinking about combining it with some of my hand spun, but I have some like hand spun mohair in a green that is like 100% my mom's color, but I was not sure about combining it. So I just went for this cowl, which is a free pattern from Pearl Soho called the Soft as Clouds cowl. I'll link it below, but because it is free, I can really talk about it. They give you 3 different options. They give you the option to just do this cable, to just do this cable, or to do both, and I went to do both. This cable is made by Slip Stitches and Yarn Overs. It's interesting. I was watching RO Knits and Pearls podcast, and she was talking about a sweater, and I think it's got the same cable in it. It's not really cabling because you're not switching where the stitches are. And this one also is not really, this is really a mock cable. You're like knitting 2 stitches together and then knitting back into the first stitch. It's a 4-row repeat, so it's pretty easy to memorize. And it's written for an alpaca silk blend, I want to say, which is, I think when I had started it, I was worried that the alpaca would be way too drapey, but I actually think it works. I think there's like enough stitch definition because this yarn is 100% alpaca. But I think there's enough stitch definition, and my mom has seen it and she really likes it. So this will be going to her next time I see her. I can put it on. I mean, yeah, it's definitely really drapey because of the alpaca. So it's not as maybe helpful for like pulling up, but I think it's nice for keeping one's neck warm. And I think it looks cute. So hopefully my mom will enjoy this. This is the second cowl that I've knit her. I know that she wears the other one that I made, so she got a second one, I feel. And I really did enjoy this yarn. I don't know that I would necessarily, it's a beautiful yarn. It's fingering weight. I knit this on I think size US 2 or 3. I don't know if I would get this again. I think I like my yarn to have a little bit more structure from sheep's wool. Alpaca is just really, it's so soft, but it's so drapey. I think I am the type of person where I don't know if I always want to wear something that is super soft. I think I like wearing something that I mean, what I'm wearing has wool and cashmere and silk, I think, the blend. This is the Asteria sweater, knit in Fiber Company Aran Moore Light, and it's pretty drapey, but it has enough structure. It has structure from the wool, but it was fun to try knitting with 100% alpaca for someone else. I think maybe I will be using gift knits. Gift knits are a really nice way to experiment with different fibers. And my mom and I need to sit down and pick a sweater for her. But I'm gonna have to be really thoughtful about what fiber I use to make a sweater, because she is so sensitive to wool. Like, she touched the wise weeds, which I feel like is comfortable against the skin, and I think I'm pretty sensitive. I cannot wear Let Lopi against next to skin, but I love Let Lopi for its warmth. But she touched the wise weeds, which is out of Knit Picks palette, and she was like, "This is too scratchy for me." And I was like, "Okay, when I make you things, we'll be really, really thoughtful and intentional about what fiber we use." If you have really sensitive skin, or if you have knit for a person with sensitive skin for a sweater that does have some wool content, probably non-superwash, and you have any yarn recommendations, I always love to hear them, because I'm going to be looking probably in the next few months. So yeah, I made both my finished objects are for my parents, which is nice. I like knitting for myself, but I also really like knitting for other people, because I need my hands to be moving like most of the time, and I don't need that many sweaters personally. So it's nice to, like, every once in a while make something for someone else, and hopefully they enjoy it. I know that she will like this, because she's already seen it, which is good. It was a surprise. We also got her for her birthday. My brother and I got her a flower CSA, so she's gonna get flowers every week from like a local flower farm. So yes, that's finished object number 2. And then I need to cast on more things. I have a swatch for my Fumber, which I won't show you because I haven't really cast it on. But I've been kind of in like a weird place with knitting recently, where I'm like, what am I gonna cast on next? And I am I'm trying to knit through my stash, but I'm also like, I might need to get some new stuff, because sometimes it's a little hard when you're only knitting from your stash. And I ended up casting on You're on TV, baby. So I ended up casting on a Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. This is my first ever Ranunculus, and I ended up casting it on with this Malabrigo Arroyo yarn that I had bought for this sweater, but then decided not to use because I was having trouble getting gauge. The skein is coming undone. I need to wind this anyways. But this is super wash. It feels nice and soft. I'm holding it double because I wanted a thicker fabric. I'm not loving the way that the yarn feels. Maybe it's because I'm holding it double and I'm knitting on size US 8 needles, but it feels like it feels a little maybe like stiff. I don't know, maybe I'm just used to knitting with non-superwash these days. And I've had like great experiences using Malabrigo in the past. I have a sweater that's almost finished that I'm probably gonna finish in the next few weeks, knit from Malabrigo sock, that I love. But I don't love this fabric, and I contemplated ripping this out, but I'm just having so much fun knitting this pattern that I'm sort of feeling like, you can't even see it that well, but I know that this is a really popular pattern. I see why it's such a popular pattern. It's so easy, it just goes. And I kind of keep picking it up to knit on it. So I'm like, if I'm enjoying knitting it so much, I might as well just finish. But I'm like, am I gonna wear this? I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna knit it and then see how I feel about the finished piece. And I definitely want to knit this pattern again. I tend not to like fabric that has, like I like a denser fabric, but I might want to really experiment with knitting this pattern with fingering weight yarn and bigger needles and having it as a piece to layer. I understand why people knit this pattern again and again. It's the ways in which the stitches are made. It's just like fun and relaxing, and it just goes in a way that I wasn't expecting. So this Ranunculus is really my only work in progress right now. I'm kind of knitting a scrappy blanket. I'm not sure about that either. I'm not going to show you right now. I think I probably will finish it because at the very least it can be a blanket for Darwin, who has taken a nap on every single piece of knitwear that he can find. So I think he needs some of his own knits. Yeah. I sometimes when you finish a lot of projects and you're like, you've been waiting to cast on and you're like, okay, I need to cast on some more things, but I don't know, it's just hard. It's funny. I think a lot of us, myself included, love to cast on. But I've been like waiting to cast on new pieces until I finish this sweater for my dad and the Wise Weeds, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, where do I go now? So I think I will cast on the Fumber, which is a Murray Wallen pattern, and with some special yarn that I have from Maine, and I might buy some new yarn. It might be time. I really want to knit like a kind of like everyday black sweater. So yeah, though that's my finished objects and my works in progress. I don't have any new acquisitions, but I actually did want to show you the yarn that I got at Junction Fiber Mill, since the lighting was bad when I showed it last time, and I wanted to show you a spinning project and then talk a little bit about life stuff, if that sounds okay. So I bought a lot of yarn when I went to visit Peggy and Amanda at Junction Fiber Mill. Did I go overboard? I don't think so. I should say, maybe I should put this in the beginning. I'll just say it now. They are having another retail day coming up. I know that a lot of folks in the area are planning on visiting. I believe they're having a retail day next week. It would have been Friday, but there's going to be a snowstorm. So if you want to visit, I highly recommend it, because especially if you visit, you can get things at the mill that they don't sell online. For example, I know that they are selling pin drafted roving for spinning, and I really want some, but I have work next week and I can't go to White River Junction. So I don't know. I've definitely contemplated like asking if my dad would go for me, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. But so I purchased some of their Making Tracks yarn, which is available online. And this is Leaves in the Brook, and then this one is In the Deep. And I'm gonna use these on a sweater for Chris. And then this one is going into my stash for something. And I just can't, this yarn, it's all American wool, it's non-superwash, and it's just like so, I mean, it's soft, it's not scratchy, but it feels woolly, and you can tell that Peggy and Amanda are just such masters of what they do, which is interesting too, because they've been doing it for a year. But it's just so well spun. You know, I think especially since I've started spinning, I think about things like twist more, and I feel like they've spun it just the right amount to really capture how gorgeous the wool is. And so I'm excited to knit with this. But I don't have patterns in mind. This one, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to color block with like a dark gray and do like a set and sleeve sweater for Chris, because I think that the fit of the set and sleeve sweater just looks really nice on Chris, like the fort. And so do like this color blocked instead of doing color work, like a color work yoke. I don't know what this will be. So really excited about this. Yeah, that's exciting. And then I got a ton of their practice yarn, which they were selling at the mill because it was pretty inexpensive. The making tracks is more expensive. It's $32 US per skein, which, you know, I think reflects the fact that Peggy and Amanda run the mill themselves and do all of the dyeing themselves. But they were selling this for only $10 a skein because this was the yarn that they were learning the equipment on. And so I got 9 of these. I think it's probably also about a DK weight, and I think it might be wool from their flocks of sheep, but I'm not sure. But it's gorgeous. It definitely has some vegetable matter from shearing, but I'm not super worried about that. It's so gorgeous, and they were just selling it at the mill, so I couldn't help myself. And I think the plan for this is going to be doing an east wind jacket inspired by Cat from Heather and Hops. Cat of Heather and Hops. And I actually did just get the Emily Foden book, Knits About Winter. Kat has spoken about this. A lot of people have spoken about this book, including Annie from the Pomegranate Girl. If you haven't watched her podcast, I highly, highly recommend it. Annie has a, has a special glow as a person and is so kind and lovely, and has a really wonderful podcast and has knitted from this book. And I was like reading it last night because I just got this, and Emily Foden's feelings about winter living in a cold place very much match my own. It is 50 degrees Fahrenheit today, and tomorrow it will be like 19 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're losing our snow, but we're gonna get more snow. It's been a weird winter, but the east wind jacket I think would be really gorgeous in this yarn. And I think it would be super, super warm. And I have enough of this. The only question I have is, do I want to combine mohair with this, which is called for in the pattern. I've never actually knit with mohair before, and I was going to cast on a ranunculus with mohair, and then I kind of, I doubted myself, and so I just cast it on with that Malabrigo, but I need to make sure that I'm not allergic to it. So I have some testing to do before I cast this on, but I think this would be a great piece that I could see myself using all the time, especially like for spring and fall when it's quite cold, but sometimes the temperature really fluctuates like today, and layering is important. So I haven't bought any other yarn, but I do think I've been knitting a lot in my stash, and I think I might purchase some new yarn soon. But I have been spinning. I'm still working on my sweater spin, which I will show you when it's completely done. But my spinning wheel had broken, and when it broke, I ordered a part to fix, and when I ordered the part, I also ordered some fiber from Frabjous Fibers, which is a Vermont dyer, but I believe it's not Vermont wool. But I ordered some Blue Face Leicester to spin. I have spun it all. Some of it I have not skeined yet, but this is 8 ounces. I want to say it's probably about 700 yards of like a fingering to sport weight. I have not washed it, so there is a little, you will notice there is a little bounce in the skein right now, like it's curling a little, but this colorway is Redwood Forest. And I have to say, I do think this was another case of me doing the thing I do where I pick fiber to spin because I like spinning bright colors, but I don't always like knitting and wearing bright colors. I loved spinning this, and I feel like my spinning, I feel like my spinning is improving. But I was like, oh no, I have a really interesting amount of this. Maybe enough for a shirt, but then I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So what happened was I actually picked out, let's see if I can, I was thinking about my scrappy sweater, which I've showed in a couple episodes, which has some hand spun in it, and about how I think that really bright hand spun can be kind of like, and also the cowl I made, the brioche cowl. I feel like solid color, neutral, or just not even neutral, but yeah, neutral, because in the scrappy sweater I used gray and brown, but like solid neutral colors can help tone down a really bright hand spun. And so I grabbed some neutrals from my stash, and I think this could work for like a stripy sweater. And I showed this to Chris, and I think Chris actually might be interested. So this might be another Chris sweater. Although I do really like these. I think that part of why it will work is that, oops, there's some brown in this. So I can like pick up on that brown. Yeah, so I will make this yarn that I spun work. And I'm going to try to continue to buy fiber with what I want to knit in mind instead of just what I want to spin. I think that my next big fiber purchase will probably be in like natural colors, because that's what I'm feeling really drawn to right now, is just like the color of the wool. But it's so fun when you're spinning to watch the colors change, and I think I get a little caught in that sometimes. Yeah, I mean, this is just a 2-ply fractal spun. I don't think I have too much more to say about it. I'm still working on consistency. At some point I will learn more spinning technique instead of just kind of going for it, but right now I'm enjoying going for it. So that's what I've been doing. And I think that that is all of the knitting and spinning content that I have for you. A quick life update is I have been working a lot. My degree is in social work. I work as a therapist right now. I've worked mostly in schools as a school therapist, but now I just see people in an office and online, and I'm just working a lot, and I really like my job. But it's definitely been like I haven't had as much time to knit and do other things, and you know, I'm feeling so excited about making more videos about my fiber shed, and I'm trying to think about what that will look like to balance, but feeling really grateful that I get to have this other thing that helps me to not burn out of my regular job. I think for people who work any job really, but also especially for people who work in a care profession, it's important to figure out ways to take care of yourself. And for me, making this podcast and is part of taking care of myself. And you know, it's also amazing because I get to connect with all of you. I really, really loved making the Junction Fiber Mill video, and I don't know, I'm like having I'm dreaming of making lots of really, I'm dreaming of making videos like that, and just meeting wonderful people, and I don't know. So we've started some seeds for the garden. You can see we've got some beds, but we're going to do really big garden out this way, and I've started leeks and onions. This is our first year living here. We used to live in Burlington, Vermont, in the city, in an apartment. This is my first year really having my own garden. And I've before social work, before therapy, I've worked a lot of different jobs, and some of the jobs that I've worked have been as a gardener and working on farms, like as a farmhand. And so I'm really excited to be able to just grow food for a hobby. But there will be a lot of experimenting this year, since it will be our first year here in the mountains, and I don't know if the land is going to be too wet. We're not building raised beds for the big garden unless we need to. We're just going to try digging into the soil, but there's a lot that we're going to get to learn, I think, about growing food here. So that will be really exciting though. And I wonder, I'm like, how much am I going to knit this? How much am I going to knit this summer? Am I going to knit a lot, or am I going to be in the garden? I don't know. And I'll figure out what that looks like about sharing it with you. I know it's been a while since my last podcast. It's been like a month. I like to update you all a little more frequently than that, but because of work and all of these other things, it's been a minute. So lots of exciting things as the days get longer and the weather gets warmer and then colder and then warmer and then colder. I am grateful to have you all here joining me. I'm grateful to get to play and experiment with fiber. I'm grateful to connect. So thank you all. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And yeah, I'll see you again maybe soon. Hopefully in the next week or two with the Wise Weeds, sweater. All right, take care.